This video is about the single mom SAT on the bench until a millionaire gentleman came to talk to her. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. Part 1. The bench in the park. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over Willow Creek Park. The air was filled with the laughter of children, the distant bark of dogs, and the rustling of leaves in the gentle evening breeze. At this hour, the park transformed into a sanctuary where the mundane melted away, revealing a tapestry of lives intertwined by fleeting moments and shared smiles. At the far end of the park, where the path curved near a small pond, sat Claire Donovan. She perched herself on a weathered wooden bench, painted a faded green, a relic of the park's past. The bench looked as if it could tell 1,000 stories. Its chipped paint and creaking slats bore witness to the laughter of young lovers, the tears of heartbreak, and the quiet reflections of solitary souls. Claire felt a kinship with it, for she too was a vessel of untold stories, each wrinkle on her face a chapter of her life. Claire took a deep breath, letting the scent of blooming lilacs fill her lungs. It was a small joy in her bumpy life, a moment of calm amidst the chaos of single motherhood. With her daughter Mia at a friend's birthday party, one she had been unable to attend due to work commitments, Claire had carved out this sliver of solitude. She cradled a coffee cup between her hands, the warmth seeping through her fingers, grounding her amidst her swirling thoughts. Her hair, a cascade of chestnut waves, framed a face that was both tired and beautiful. Dark circles shadowed her emerald green eyes, which often sparkled with a mix of determination and vulnerability. Claire had spent the last 5 years navigating the tumultuous waters of single parenthood, her heart both heavy and buoyed by the love she felt for Mia. Yet, underneath her resilient exterior, she often battled feelings of inadequacy and longing for companionship. "Mommy, can we go to the park tomorrow?" Mia's voice echoed in her mind, bringing a smile to her lips. Mia's exuberance for life filled their small apartment, and Claire was determined to cultivate that joy, even if it meant sacrificing her own needs. Just as she took a sip of her coffee, the sound of laughter pulled her from her reverie. Claire glanced up to see a group of children chasing one another, their giggles ringing through the air. The sight warmed her heart, but it also reminded her of the times she had to miss out on these little adventures due to work. As she watched the children play, her gaze shifted, and she noticed a figure approaching. A man clad in a tailored navy suit, his crisp white shirt contrasting sharply against his tanned skin. He walked with an air of confidence, his dark hair meticulously styled, and a hint of mischief danced in his blue eyes. There was something magnetic about him, an energy that felt out of place among the casual park goers. Claire's heart quickened as he drew nearer, uncertainty creeping into her mind. She brushed a stray hair behind her ear, her cheeks warming slightly. Was he coming towards her? She considered making an escape, but curiosity rooted her to the bench. "Excuse me," he said, his voice smooth and warm like honey. "I hope I'm not intruding, but I couldn't help but notice how peaceful you look sitting here." Claire blinked, momentarily taken aback. Thank you. I guess it's the coffee doing most of the work," she replied, her tone light, though she felt a flutter in her chest. It wasn't often that someone approached her like this, especially not someone who looked like he had just stepped out of a high-end magazine. He chuckled softly, the sound rich and inviting. "I've never thought of coffee as a tranquilizer, but you might be onto something." He paused, his eyes twinkling with a playful glint. "I'm James, by the way." "Claire," she replied, extending her hand instinctively. His grip was firm and warm, sending an unexpected thrill coursing through her. "What brings you to this bench, Claire?" he asked, settling himself down beside her, maintaining a respectful distance yet somehow drawing her in with his presence. She hesitated, contemplating the layers of her life that she would reveal to a stranger. "I'm just taking a moment for myself. My daughter is at a birthday party nearby." A flicker of understanding crossed his face. "Ah, the rare me time for the dedicated mom. I respect that. Being a parent is a full-time job." "It really is," Claire chuckled, the sound warm and genuine. "Mia's a whirlwind of energy, but she's the best thing that's ever happened to me." James leaned back slightly, a soft smile playing on his lips as he regarded her with genuine interest. "Sounds like you're quite the superhero. What's her favorite thing to do?" "Everything," Claire laughed lightly. "But she has a particular obsession with the swings. I swear she could spend hours just soaring through the air, feeling like she's flying." "I can relate to that feeling," he said, his gaze drifting towards the playground where children squealed with delight. "There's something magical about it, isn't there? The thrill of the wind against your face." "Yes, there is," she agreed, warmth radiating through her as she fell into the rhythm of their conversation. She hadn't realized how much she craved connection until this moment. "Do you ever swing?" he asked, a playful tone in his voice making her heart skip a beat. "Only when Mia insists," Claire admitted, her cheeks warming as she pictured herself on the swings, laughing as she pushed her daughter higher. James chuckled again, the sound rich with warmth. "Perhaps I should take that as an invitation to join you both one day. I promise not to judge your swinging form." She laughed, the sound bubbling forth. "Oh, I'd be worried about your judgment, but I might just take you up on that." As they exchanged playful banter, Claire found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't expected. James was charismatic, but it was more than that. There was a spark of genuine connection that lit up the space between them. The initial tension she felt ebbed away, replaced by a curiosity that bordered on excitement. "Are you from around here, James?" she inquired, tilting her head slightly to catch his gaze. "I am actually. Moved back a couple of years ago after spending some time working abroad. I missed the charm of Willow Creek," he replied, his smile fading slightly as if recalling something bittersweet. "And you? Have you always lived here?" "I grew up in a small town not far from here," Claire shared, her voice more animated now. "I moved to the city for college and then came back when Mia was born. It was overwhelming at first, but there's something comforting about familiar places." "I can imagine," he said softly, his blue eyes searching hers. "Sometimes going back brings clarity. You find pieces of yourself that you thought were lost." Claire felt a pang resonate in her chest, as if he understood the intricate dance of loss and rediscovery that had defined her life since becoming a mother. "Exactly," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's like you're constantly redefining who you are, especially when you have someone else depending on you." James studied her intently, his expression shifting from light-hearted to profound. "That takes courage, Claire, to embrace that change and still seek joy amid the challenges." She felt a blush creeping up her cheeks, not just from the compliment but from the realization that this stranger saw her. Not just the mother but the woman behind the title. "Thank you. It's certainly a journey." For a moment they lapsed into silence, the world around them fading as an invisible bond began to weave its way between them, fragile yet electric, laden with unspoken possibilities. "Claire," he said softly, breaking the spell, "I know this might be bold, but would you be open to continuing this conversation over dinner sometime?" The invitation hung in the air, both thrilling and terrifying. Claire's heart raced, the reality of her life rushing back in like a tide. She was a single mother with responsibilities that loomed large, and yet here was an opportunity for something different, something exciting. She started, searching for her words, the weight of her life pressing against her chest. But as she looked into James's eyes, she saw sincerity mingled with hope. Perhaps this was a moment to be brave, to step outside the narrow confines of her routine existence. "Yes," she finally said, her breath catching. "I'd like that." His smile ignited, brightening the space between them. "Great," he replied, his enthusiasm infectious. "How about we exchange numbers? I promise I'll make it worthwhile." As they shared their details, Claire felt a rush of exhilaration mixed with trepidation. The world around them buzzed with life, yet in that moment, it was just the two of them, two souls poised at the edge of something new and beautiful. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, Claire realized that perhaps this was the start of a new chapter, one she hadn't dared to imagine before. Part 2, Dinner Plans. The following week felt like an eternity, each day stretching out before Claire as she navigated the familiar rhythm of her life. Mornings were filled with the gentle chaos of getting Mia ready for school, with breakfast negotiations and the occasional wardrobe meltdown. Evenings were a blur of homework, dinner, and bedtime stories, each moment infused with a love so profound that it made the challenges feel worth it. Yet beneath the surface, Claire was restless, her thoughts often drifting back to James. She could still recall the warmth of his gaze, the rich timbre of his laughter, and the way he had listened to her as if her words were the most precious treasure. It was an exhilarating feeling, the kind that left her with a sweet ache in her chest and a flutter of nervous anticipation. The dinner he'd proposed lingered in her thoughts, hovering like a tantalizing secret she couldn't quite grasp. "Mommy, why are you smiling?" Mia's voice broke through her reverie one afternoon as they returned home from school. The girl's bright eyes sparkled with mischief, and Claire felt a rush of joy at the sight. "Oh, just thinking about something happy," Claire replied, trying to keep the tone light. She knelt beside Mia, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "What about you? Did you have a good day?" Mia nodded vigorously, her energy seeming boundless. "We did a science experiment. We made a volcano that erupted." She punctuated her excitement with hand gestures, her voice rising with the thrill of the moment. "Can I show you?" Claire smiled, her heart swelling with admiration for her daughter's enthusiasm. "Of course. Let's get settled, and then you can tell me everything about it." As Mia animatedly recounted her day, Claire found herself absorbed in the warmth of motherhood, but the thought of James lingered like a whisper in her mind. What would it be like to sit across from him at dinner, to share stories and laughter, to let someone else see the woman she was beneath the title of mom? It was both thrilling and terrifying. Later that evening, as Claire tucked Mia into bed, she leaned down, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "Sweet dreams, my little scientist," she murmured, pulling the blanket up to Mia's chin. The girl's eyes fluttered closed, a serene smile gracing her lips, and Claire felt a rush of gratitude for the life they shared. Once Mia was asleep, Claire grabbed her phone, her heart racing as she opened James's contact. The screen glowed softly in the dim light of her living room. She took a deep breath, contemplating how to reach out. She had almost convinced herself to push it aside when her phone buzzed with a text. "Hey Claire, just checking in. Hope you're having a great day." Her heart soared as she read his message, warmth flooding through her. "Hi James. I am, thank you. Just finished a wild bedtime routine with my daughter. Sounds like a blast. How about we get together this week?" She hesitated, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. There was a flicker of doubt. Was she really ready to step into a world that had been so foreign to her since Mia was born? But then she recalled the way James had looked at her, the way he had made her feel seen. "I'd like that. How about dinner tomorrow?" "Perfect, I know a great little place. I'll pick you up at 7. She felt butterflies in her stomach at the thought of him picking her up, of stepping out into the world with him. Sounds good. Looking forward to it. As she set her phone down, Claire felt a whirlwind of emotions churning within her. Excitement, anxiety, and a hint of hope. The prospect of a night out felt almost surreal, a glimmer of something she had long thought was out of reach. The next evening arrived with a mix of anticipation and nerves. Claire spent extra time getting ready, choosing a simple but elegant dress that flowed around her figure, accentuating her curves in just the right way. She opted for light makeup, wanting to feel natural yet polished. And as she caught her reflection in the mirror, she felt a flicker of the woman she used to be before life had become so consumed by motherhood. At precisely 7 p.m., the doorbell rang, sending her heart into a flurry. She took a moment, inhaling deeply to steady herself before opening the door. There stood James, looking dapper in a charcoal suit, his hair perfectly styled, and a charming smile that set her at ease. "Wow, you look stunning," he breathed, his eyes widening in genuine admiration. The compliment washed over her like a warm embrace, and she felt a blush creep onto her cheeks. "Thank you," she replied, her voice soft. "You clean up well yourself." As he stepped inside, she caught a hint of his cologne, a subtle mix of cedar and citrus that made her pulse quicken. "Ready for an evening of adventure?" he asked, his enthusiasm infectious. "Absolutely," she replied, grabbing her small clutch and slipping on her shoes. The anticipation of the night ahead flowed through her veins, igniting an excitement she hadn't felt in years. As they walked to his car, the chilly evening air contrasted beautifully with the warmth of the moment. James opened the car door for her, an old-fashioned gesture that elicited a smile from Claire. "You don't have to do that," she teased lightly as she got into the passenger seat. "Consider it my gentlemanly duty," he said, winking at her as he slid into the driver's seat. "Besides, I like to think of myself as a throwback to a more chivalrous time." The drive to the restaurant was filled with easy conversation, punctuated by laughter. They spoke about everything and nothing, sharing snippets of their lives, their hopes, and their dreams. It was as if they were weaving a tapestry of connection, each thread pulling them closer together. "So tell me about your favorite place in the world," James prompted, his eyes focused on the road but his tone inviting. Claire smiled, considering the question. "I think it would have to be the beach. It's where I feel the most at peace. The sound of the waves, the smell of salt water, it's like an escape." He nodded, his expression turning contemplative. "I can see that. There's something liberating about being near the ocean. I've always had a soft spot for the mountains, though. The quiet, the fresh air, it clears my mind." "I can imagine," she replied, picturing him standing amidst towering trees, a serene expression on his face. "What do you do for fun when you're not working?" James chuckled softly. "I like to explore new places, try new restaurants. I'm a bit of a foodie." "Is that a hint for where we're going?" Claire teased, her heart racing at the thought of what lay ahead. "Maybe," he said, throwing her a sidelong glance infused with mischief. "You'll just have to wait and see." As they pulled into the restaurant's parking lot, Claire's breath caught in her throat. The building was a charming bistro, its soft lighting spilling out onto the sidewalk, creating an inviting atmosphere. The scent of gourmet dishes wafted through the air, mingling with the laughter of patrons already seated. "This place is lovely," Claire breathed as they entered, her eyes scanning the cozy interior adorned with rustic decor and flickering candles. "I'm glad you like it," James said, guiding her to a table tucked away in a corner, offering a sense of intimacy. They settled into their seats, and within moments, a waitress approached to take their orders. "So what's good here?" Claire asked, her curiosity piqued as she glanced at the menu. "Everything," James replied confidently. "But I highly recommend the truffle pasta. It's to die for." "Truffle pasta it is then," she smiled, feeling a flutter of excitement. As they placed their orders, the conversation flowed easily, a delightful dance of laughter and shared stories. "I have to admit," James said, leaning forward slightly, "I've been looking forward to this dinner all week. It's nice to meet someone who challenges me in conversation and makes me laugh." Claire felt warmth spread through her chest at his words. "I feel the same way. It's refreshing to connect with someone outside of the daily grind. I find that people underestimate the importance of genuine connection," he mused, his gaze steady and sincere. "We get so wrapped up in our routines that we forget how to truly engage with one another." "Yes," she agreed, her voice quiet. "It's easy to lose sight of that when you're focused on responsibilities." James tilted his head slightly, his blue eyes searching hers. "But it's moments like this that remind us of what life can be, how important it is to embrace joy, even amid chaos." The weight of his words sank in, echoing the feeling she had brushed aside for so long. As they shared stories of their lives, from childhood adventures to the challenges of adulthood, Claire felt a blossoming connection, a chemistry that pulsed between them, tangible yet delicate, like a thread of silk that tied their hearts together. The evening unfolded like a cherished memory, each moment infused with laughter and the gentle thrill of new beginnings. As dessert arrived, a shared chocolate lava cake that melted in her mouth, Claire couldn't. As dessert arrived, a shared chocolate lava cake that melted in her mouth, Claire couldn't help but laugh softly at the sheer indulgence of it all. The warm, gooey center oozed out as she took her first spoonful, her taste buds dancing with delight. "This is divine," she exclaimed, savoring the rich flavors. James grinned, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Told you, it's the perfect ending to a wonderful meal. But it does come with a warning. Once you have a taste, you'll crave it again." "Consider it my new guilty pleasure," she joked, her heart racing as they locked eyes. There was an infectious energy building between them, a chemistry that felt electric. "I'll take that as a personal challenge," he replied playfully, leaning back in his chair, his demeanor relaxed but attentive. "So, what other guilty pleasures do you indulge in when you get the chance?" Claire thought for a moment, her spoon pausing midair. "Well, I love binge-watching old sitcoms. There's something comforting about the humor, the nostalgia. It reminds me of simpler times." "Ah, a fan of the classics. Which ones are your favorites?" "Definitely Friends," she said with a warm smile, "and The Office. I love how relatable the characters are, how they navigate life's absurdities. Plus, who doesn't love a good laugh?" James chuckled, a lightness in his eyes. "Those are solid choices. I might have to join you for a sitcom marathon one day then." Claire felt a rush of warmth at his words, a playful challenge hanging in the air. "I'll hold you to that." As they continued to share stories, Claire found herself opening up in ways she hadn't anticipated. James listened intently, hanging on her every word, his gaze steady and reassuring. She narrated tales of her childhood, of summer camps and late-night adventures with her friends, each story punctuated by laughter that felt freeing in his presence. "What about you?" she asked after sharing a particularly embarrassing tale about her first crush. "What's your most embarrassing moment?" James tilted his head, a playful spark igniting in his eyes. "Oh, I have plenty to choose from, but there's one that stands out. I was giving a presentation at a conference, and right in the middle, I realized my fly was down the entire time." Claire burst into laughter, her cheeks flushing with mirth at the thought. "No way! How did you recover from that?" "Well, I made a joke out of it, of course," he replied, a lopsided grin spreading across his face. "I said, at least I have nothing to hide." She shook her head, still chuckling. "That's bold. I love it. You definitely have a way of turning a potentially mortifying moment into something humorous." "It's a survival tactic," he admitted, leaning forward slightly. Life's too short to take everything too seriously, right? Absolutely, she agreed, her heart swelling at the warmth of the connection they were building. She felt seen in a way she hadn't experienced in years, as if he was peeling back the layers she had so carefully constructed to protect her heart. What about you, Claire? What do you do for fun when you're not being a superhero mom? She hesitated, a flicker of vulnerability crossing her features. Honestly, it's hard to carve out time for myself, but I love reading. It transports me to different worlds, offers an escape from reality. James nodded thoughtfully, his expression encouraging. What genres do you enjoy? Mostly fiction, romance, and a little fantasy, she said, her cheeks warming slightly. I guess I'm a sucker for a good love story. Who is? He replied with a twinkle in his eye. There's something captivating about the journey of two people finding their way to each other. Claire felt a subtle shift as his words lingered in the air between them, the atmosphere charged with unspoken possibilities. Yes, she breathed, her pulse quickening. It's the unpredictability of it all, the tension, the chemistry. James leaned in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. And the moments that take your breath away, where everything else fades away, leaving just the two of them. The intensity of his gaze sent shivers down her spine, and Claire felt a rush of heat flood her cheeks. Exactly, she murmured, her heart racing as they locked eyes, the world around them fading into a blur. Their dessert sat forgotten as the conversation deepened, becoming something more than just casual banter. The connection between them felt palpable, a thread of desire weaving its way through their shared stories and laughter. Claire, James said softly, breaking the spell as he leaned back slightly, his expression contemplative. I know we've just met, but I feel like there's something special here, something I don't want to overlook. Her heart thudded in her chest, the vulnerability of his words sending a thrill coursing through her. I feel it too, she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. But you're worried, he finished gently, understanding lacing his tone. I get it. Life is complicated, especially when you have someone else to think about. Claire took a deep breath, her mind swirling with the weight of her responsibilities. Mia is my priority. I want to protect her, shield her from anything that could disrupt her world. James nodded, the warmth in his gaze unwavering. I respect that, but I also believe that you deserve to find happiness, to explore moments that make your heart race. His words settled in the air between them, echoing the internal struggle she had been facing since their first encounter. Did she dare to open herself up to a new possibility? Could she allow someone into her life after so long? If we're to explore this connection, she said slowly, her voice steadying, it has to be with honesty. I need you to understand my life is chaotic. Trust me, I thrive in chaos, he replied, his tone light yet earnest. I want to know every part of you, Claire, the good, the messy, and the beautiful. She felt her pulse quicken at his sincerity, an ember of hope igniting within her. You're quite the charmer, you know that. Only when it comes to someone worth charming, he replied, his smile softening as he leaned closer, their table feeling like a world of its own. So, what do you say? Can we embark on this adventure together, one step at a time? The intensity of his gaze sent a rush of warmth through her, and Claire found herself caught in the moment, a delicate balance between fear and excitement. I'd like that, she whispered, feeling the weight of his words settle in her heart. As they finished their dessert, laughter and shared glances filling the air, Claire felt an unfamiliar lightness envelop her. The world outside continued to spin, but in that moment everything felt possible. She didn't know where this journey would lead, but she was willing to take a chance on herself, on them. As they left the restaurant, the cool night air greeted them, and Claire couldn't help but glance at the stars twinkling above, a sense of wonder washing over her. Perhaps, just perhaps, This was the beginning of something beautiful, a new chapter filled with laughter, connection, and the promise of romance. And as they walked side by side, their hands nearly brushing against each other, Claire felt a flutter of anticipation in her chest, and with every step, she moved closer to the possibility of love. Part 4. The Promise of Tomorrow. The evening air was crisp as Claire, and James strolled side by side along the dimly lit streets of Willow Creek, the faint glow of street lamps casting a warm halo around them. They walked with a leisurely pace, the tension of the earlier moments melting into something more relaxed and comfortable. It was a delicate balance, both of them acutely aware of the chemistry simmering beneath the surface, yet not quite ready to let it boil over. "So, what's next on our culinary adventure?" Claire asked, her voice light, trying to maintain the playful banter that had marked their dinner. James chuckled, the sound rich and inviting. "I was thinking maybe a little Italian next, but only if you promise to try the tiramisu. It's life-changing." "I'll hold you to that," she said, her heart warming at the prospect of more evenings like this. "But I have to admit, I might just be a dessert aficionado now. That chocolate lava cake was beyond amazing." As they walked, the conversation flowed easily, each word building a bridge between their worlds. Claire found herself sharing stories about the little things that made up her life, the chaos of balancing work and motherhood, the little quirks that made Mia unique, and the ways she found solace in the mundane. "I remember one time, Mia got her hands on some markers and turned the living room into a masterpiece," Claire said, laughter bubbling up as she recalled the sight of bright colors splattered across the walls. "I was furious at first, but then I realized it was just her expressing herself. I couldn't be mad at that." James's blue eyes sparkled with amusement. "Let me guess, you ended up taking pictures and posting them online as a proud mother." "I might have," she admitted, a grin spreading across her face. "It turned out to be a real bonding moment, you know. We spent the afternoon cleaning up together, and she was so proud of her art that I couldn't bring myself to scrub it off right away." "That sounds like the kind of chaos I can get behind," James said, his tone playful. "Creativity deserves to be celebrated, even if it means a little mess. I assume you have plenty of those moments." "Oh, there's no shortage of chaos in my life," Claire laughed, her heart feeling lighter as they continued to walk. "But I wouldn't trade it for anything. Mia brings a vibrant energy that makes even the challenging days seem worthwhile." James nodded, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. "Kids have a way of putting everything into perspective. They remind us of the joy in simplicity. I have a niece who's just a few years older than Mia, and she's a whirlwind too. Every time I see her, it's like a breath of fresh air, full of wonder and imagination." "I can imagine." Claire took a moment to glance up at him, her heart fluttering as she caught the sincerity in his gaze. "It's amazing how children can brighten the darkest days. They have an uncanny ability to bring joy to the smallest of things." "Exactly," he replied softly, his voice almost introspective. "Sometimes, I think we could all use a little more of that childlike wonder in our lives. Maybe that's why I love being around kids. They see magic where we often see monotony." They fell into a comfortable silence, the sounds of the night wrapping around them like a soft blanket. The rustling leaves, the distant laughter from other park-goers, and the gentle hum of the world around them created a serene backdrop for their shared moment. "So," James said, breaking the silence, "if you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?" The question caught Claire off guard, and she smiled at the spontaneity of it. "Oh wow, that's a tough one, but I think maybe Italy. I've always wanted to see the Amalfi Coast, taste authentic Italian food, and soak in the culture." "Great choice. The colors, the flavors, the history, it's like stepping into a painting. he said, his eyes lighting up. Have you always had a passion for travel? I wouldn't say it's a passion, but it's definitely a dream, Claire admitted, her voice tinged with a hint of wistfulness. Before Mia, I did a bit of traveling with friends, but since becoming a mom, it's been harder to prioritize. I suppose I've gotten comfortable in my little world. I totally understand, he said, his tone empathic. Life has a way of making us focus on the day-to-day, but that doesn't mean the dreams have to fade away. They're just waiting for the right moment to resurface. Claire felt a rush of warmth at his words, and she could see in his eyes a genuine understanding, a gentle reminder that there was still a world beyond the responsibilities that weighed her down. And what about you? Where would you go? It's a toss-up between Japan and New Zealand, he replied, his enthusiasm palpable. Both have such unique cultures and landscapes. I've always been fascinated by Japan's blend of tradition and modernity. And New Zealand. The scenery is breathtaking. Such a great contrast. You clearly have a taste for adventure. Claire felt her pulse quicken at the thought of exploring new places with someone like him. Have you ever been? I've been to Japan for work, but I haven't made it to New Zealand yet, he admitted, a hint of regret in his voice. One of these days, though, and I'm definitely bringing my niece along for that adventure when it happens. The conversation meandered seamlessly through dreams and aspirations, their laughter punctuating the air as they shared intimate glimpses of their lives. Claire felt an undeniable connection grow between them, a thread of shared experiences weaving their paths together. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to just pack a bag and hit the road? James asked, his expression playful yet contemplative. Honestly, I've thought about it more than I'd like to admit, she laughed softly. But the logistics of packing for two, plus finding someone to take care of Mia while I'm gone, it's complicated. James tilted his head, his gaze searching hers. I get it, but there's something freeing about the idea, isn't there? Just letting go of responsibilities for a little while and embracing spontaneity. A smile crept onto Claire's lips, her heart racing at the thought of breaking free from her routine. It is freeing. I love the idea of adventure, but the reality of being a single mom often keeps me grounded. Maybe we can plan an adventurous day together sometime, just the two of us, when Mia's busy, he suggested, his eyes sparkling with mischief. Oh, imagine the chaos we could create. Claire laughed, the sound rich with warmth. That sounds like a recipe for disaster, but also an absolute blast. I may need to clear it with Mia first, though. Fair enough, James replied, leaning closer, an inviting gleam in his eyes. But I'll make it worth her while. I'm sure I can charm her into joining us for the next adventure. Good luck with that, Claire teased, her heart fluttering at his eagerness. She's a tough audience. James grinned, their eyes locking in a moment that felt electric. I think I can handle it. Besides, I have a few tricks up my sleeve. As they turned a corner, the park stretched out before them, moonlight shimmering on the pond's surface like 1,000 scattered diamonds. The sight took Claire's breath away, and she couldn't help but pause, her heart swelling at the beauty of the moment. Wow, she breathed, taking in the tranquil scene. This is beautiful. James stepped beside her, and the warmth of his presence sent shivers down her spine. It really is. There's something magical about the way the moonlight dances on the water. Yes, she murmured, captivated by the scene. It's like a moment frozen in time. Just like us, he said softly, his gaze fixed on her, the warmth of his words hanging in the air between them. Claire felt her heart skip a beat, the intensity of his stare holding her captive. Before she could finish, James reached out, gently tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear, the touch sending a wave of warmth coursing through her. I want you to know, Claire, that I respect everything you've shared with me tonight. I understand the complexities of your life, and I'm not here to rush anything. But I genuinely care about you, and I'd love to explore where this connection might take us." Her breath caught in her throat, the sincerity of his words washing over her like a gentle tide. "Thank you," she whispered, the weight of her feelings spilling over. "I care about you too, James. This is all so new and a little terrifying." "Terrifying can be exhilarating too," he replied, his tone soothing as he leaned closer, their faces mere inches apart. "And I promise to take things at your pace. Just know that I'm here for you." Claire felt a warmth blossom in her chest, a flicker of hope igniting within her. "That means a lot to me," she said, her voice soft yet steady. And in that moment, as the moon cast its silvery glow upon them, she realized that perhaps this was the beginning.